My name is Blade, and they call me the Daywalker. I have all their strengths, none of their weaknesses, except the thirst. Always the thirst. Ah, thirst is quenched. Blade 2, released in 2002, and is directed by Guillermo del Toro, who has also directed such films like The Devil's Backbone, Hellboy, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, Pan's Labyrinth, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, and The Shape of Water. And this film is starring Wesley Snipes, of course, Chris Christopherson, and Ron Perlman. Years after the events of the first Blade film, Blade, who is a hybrid of vampires, is on the search of his old mentor and guy behind the chair, Whistler. And after recapturing and curing him of his vampirism, they are met by a team of vampires from the High Vampire Command, and they are requesting Blade's services in helping them hunting down something that has been hunting vampires. So that's right, in this movie, Blade teams up with his enemies to take out their enemy, because their enemy is his friend. I don't know, I mean, they said that line like 25 different times throughout this entire film, just in case if you forgot, really, like, the whole idea behind this movie of, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and keep enemies closer and friends away, you know, enemies and friends and stuff. Like, yeah, we get it. You're teaming up with the people that you hunt, and that's, you know, that's cool. It's a really cool plot device. Let's see where it goes. But really where it goes is, I think, actually a pretty damn good time. Now, the majority of people out there would think that the first X-Men film from 2000 was really the first major big picture comic book hero of the modern era. And while the characters of X-Men, the name X-Men, is more mainstream, that's not true, because 2 years prior to that, we got a film called Blade that was also starring Wesley Snipes. Blade is a Marvel character, and really that was the first one to have like a huge budget behind it, and like great production and story, and have like a mainstream release. So really, Blade is to be thanked for kind of kicking off the idea of, hey, let's take these existing comic properties that no one is using right now, and let's kind of make it our own thing and put it on screen and see if people buy it. And they bought it. But I forget that the acclaimed director Guillermo del Toro was the culprit behind giving us, by far, in my opinion, the best Blade movie to date. And we are scheduled to get a Mahershala Ali Blade film in the next couple of years, but until then, Blade 2 is the best one. I am very excited for Mahershala Ali, though. That's going to be great. Where vampires are going to fit into the whole MCU, I don't know. Well, I guess they're doing a Morbius film, so I guess all that kind of makes sense. I'm getting ahead of myself. 2002, Blade 2, I remember seeing previews for this thing all over the place. Back then, I would watch WWF Raw and WWF SmackDown all the time, and this was always playing on, I think it was Spike TV. They always had the trailer for this thing. So I felt like by the time I finally watched the movie, which was probably around when Blade Trinity was coming out a couple of years later, I felt like I've already seen the movie, because I knew all the beats from the trailer. Pretty badass beats, though. The part where Whistler throws the sunglasses and Blade catches him out of midair and puts him on. I mean, only Wesley Snipes can do that. Anyone who could take a line like "Simon Says Die" and get it over as well as he got it over back in 1995 with Demolition Man deserves to be Blade. And I think he does a good job in this movie. He owns every scene that he is in. When he comes on set and he's walking amongst all of these people, or this vampire Avenger squad team, he's the scene stealer. You just focus on him. He has an air about him. All of them are focusing towards him. It's great. And Ron Perlman is great as the big muscle man of this vampire team. You just know that he's gonna double-cross Blade somehow. Ron Perlman, I mean, talk about having a very unique look. Just the bone structure and facial structure he has just makes him so marketable for roles like this. I mean, hell, it was probably his audition for Hellboy a couple of years later. But I do like this concept of Blade teaming up with the people, with the creatures that he's been hunting his entire life, the creatures who took his mother away from him and really took his life away from him, because he's always had just this inner desire to want to feed on blood and to make a kill, but he's not going to do that because, again, he is a Marvel character for one, and also he's the Daywalker. I feel like the first moments of this movie, though, is a complete and total retcon of the original Blade film. Spoiler alert, I guess, for the original Blade movie from 1998, if you care, but here's a small little spoiler. Whistler was attacked in their warehouse. He's the guy behind the chair. He creates all the gadgets and fun tools. I thought he shot himself off screen because he was bitten and he didn't want to become a vampire. So they cut away from it in the movie where Blade is walking away and you hear the gunshot and you see the hand fall and the gun fall out of his hand, leading us to believe that he shot himself and he died. But in this movie, it's like one of the first lines, "I've been hunting Whistler, who used to be my guardian." And it's like, wait a minute, he died in the first one. How are you hunting him? The bullet didn't take. I guess he had turned into a vampire by that time, and then he's been being shipped around by the vampire community. So Blade captures him and then cures him. Like in the first 5 minutes. This whole disease, vampirism, just cured it. Right out of him. And you can't do the same thing for yourself. You're not even a full-blood vampire. The serum should work on you, but it can't because he is our hero, and heroes need to have flaws. I think it's just one of those things, story beats, that Guillermo del Toro was like, I want Whistler, because Whistler is very important to Blade lore. We need him for this movie. Let's just kind of shoehorn him in here really quick in the first 5 minutes. That way people completely forget about it by the time we get to our main plot. I'm assuming that's what happened here. Like I said, I think Wesley Snipes does a great job of performing the role of Blade. I mean, when you think Blade, you immediately think of Wesley Snipes. It's going to take a while for me to think about Mahershala Ali in that role. I mean, again, we need to see him as that role first, I guess. But you can tell he's really caring and putting forth an effort in this movie, unlike he did in Blade Trinity, where he refused to come out of his trailer many times. Here, he's actually doing the stunt work, he's doing a lot of the fight choreography, and when it's the practical stuff, when it's actually the people doing the fighting on screen, it looks really good. However, in 2002, they were starting to implement like new brands of CGI, so what they would do is they would take the practical fight choreography and then kind of shoehorn in a little piece of CGI scenery in here where the characters are CGI, and you can tell. Like, it's bad video game quality stuff here. Real life fighting along, and then all of a sudden computer generated and looks very cartoony, and then we cut back into practical. It bothered me back then, and it still bothers me to this day. I get it, you're trying to do new and fantastical things. Awesome. I mean, stick with practical if you can't do it well. I think this film is forgotten when it comes to the whole history of Marvel films. I mean, it was completely overshadowed by another big Marvel movie later on in 2002 called Spider-Man. I mean, that one just completely dominated. And even when you think about Guillermo del Toro's filmography, a lot of the other films just completely overshadow it. And I think it's forgotten, and it deserves to have more recognition. It's 2 hours long. It really feels like an hour and a half. I was shocked when I was looking at the time and seeing that it was just over 2 hours. Like, I thought for sure this was an hour and a half, because this thing moves along very quickly. And the villain that they're going after is a new brand of vampire who only feeds on vampires, and I guess when those vampires are gone, then they're going to feed on humans, which I guess why not just feed on both at the same time? Unless vampires taste better, I guess. But they're not your typical vampires who only have the teeth that kind of stick out. You know, their fangs kind of split open the jaw, and it kind of comes out like an actual vampire bat and latches onto you. Kind of creepy. Kind of gross when we get the dissection of how they work. It's pretty, yeah, you know, don't need to see that. Not at all. Kind of gross. It is. Don't need to see it. But I won't spoil where they come from or why the breed of vampire killing vampires even exists. I'll allow you to watch the film for that. But again, just to reiterate, I think this is a really fun time. It's the best Blade film out there to date. Wesley Snipes, this is the last time that he actually cared about the character of Blade. Other than him and Ron Perlman, though, these lines that are being read are very, very, very forced and very wooden. The daughter of the grand vampire dude is just, anytime she speaks, it is all monotone. Blade, you need to help us. We are here to help you. And friends need to keep friends close because of enemies. And we are here to help you. Are you trying to kill us, Blade? Why would you do that? And even Whistler, too. It's all monotone. Like, they don't even care. They're just here for the paycheck. If you can get by that and just go through the whole coolness that Wesley Snipes has about him and his portrayal of Blade, I think it's a really fun time. I'm going to give Blade 2 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
Alright guys, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next, so let's take a look. Taken! I don't know who you are or where you come from. All I know is just I have skills that will really fuck up your shit. So give me back my daughter, or else I'll come after you, and I will kill you. I am Liam Neeson. Wow, I need to be careful when I do that for my next review. Whew! Taken, the shot in the arm of adrenaline for Liam Neeson's career, and the whole action genre of taking an elderly statesman and plugging him into an action movie and making him out to be really badass. Really, this movie came out of nowhere, and this whole idea of taking people past their prime or past, their mid-30s at most, and putting in some older gentlemen and being an action star wasn't even heard of back then. And then all of a sudden Taken comes out and you're like, whoa. Oh, that was awesome. So we'll check out Taken next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do. Just attach your movie recommendation with your donation. And if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, give you a shout out on the channel, and get my review of it published as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, if you've seen Blade 2, what did you think about it? Where does it rank in the whole Blade trilogy? And hell, even throw in that original series with Lena Headey from many years ago. Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Taken. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.